Again, welcome. Happy Friday, if there is such a thing. And there has been a lot going on with government contracting. And believe it or not, it's actually very good for us. When I say us, I mean the people that are with me and my team in our community because we know what to do, we know how to win. And if you are with us and you're not quite sure because you're new, because maybe you're having some challenges, that's what we want to hear about. That's what we want to know about. We want to ensure that our community, meaning you, uh, most of you are, even if you're just in a free program, you know how I think. You probably know a lot about me. And you're familiar with how I teach, how I guide, how I develop. And you know that I'm fearless and I want you guys to be fearless and I don't live in scarcity. Those two things are very important in business. And when you don't have those, or your confidence is not there because you're not getting the right information and you're hearing a lot of different voices and opinions, that's a problem. So you don't know what to think. So first, let's tell you who the panel is. It's just Torrance and I. You guys, you should know me. I'm Michelle Brown. I'm the CEO and founder of FedBiz Exchange, and I've been teaching and developing businesses for a long time. Not to mention, I would say over 10 years. Not to mention that I win government contracts myself. So one of the reasons that I and my team have a lot of success with businesses is because we have real life experience. We're not just talking the talk; we walk the walk too. And even my part of my team that does not have to do that, they know a lot more probably than the average person about winning government contracts in this federal space. When you know how to win in the federal space, you can win anywhere. You guys know me, and then there's Torrance. Torrance is our client success advisor. He is our basically our success coach. When you get in the program or before you get into the program, he will guide you to the right program, number one, but he does assessments to make sure that he understands what your needs are. Even if you're already in the program and you sign up for a consultation, either way, Torrance is my lead person. We work very closely together. I work closely with my entire team. They actually manage me for some of those of you guys that know how I do things. We'll get more into Torrance's introduction, and you can learn a little bit more about what he does, why we invited you here today. The point is for you to learn how to win in business, period. And I wanted us, we all agreed to provide a platform for entrepreneurs like you to ask questions and get your concerns addressed relating to government contracting. I want to be surrounded by winners. Me and my team, we have a lot of winners. Not everybody tells us, but we know. Torrance, go ahead and introduce yourself.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Torrance. I'm the client success advisor here at FedBiz. I'm here to make sure that you remember the basics, to guide you in the right direction, to kind of understand where your journey is. And then from there, just making sure you understand the process of bidding, winning, research, and identifying opportunities. So that is pretty much a quick summary of what I do, what we do here at FedBiz as far as the journey. Um,
So when you say that, Torrance, are you which program are you thinking? Is it a specific program or is it services and products? What are you thinking?
well, I'm focusing more on the assessment part when people are coming in and
Oh,
they're
that's a
kind
good
of
idea.
they're interested in the program. They watched you for a little bit. They might not know what program to choose, and they might not
Mm-hmm.
know what is all that's going to be required.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times there are roadblocks in self development that they may need preliminary work on and understanding, and that guides them to clarity and making the right decision in what they want to do and moving forward. That's what
Mm-hmm.
I run into a lot. So, a lot of them want to know, hey, what exactly is in this particular program? What exactly is in that particular program? So, for instance, the DLA program, that is a focus on working in dibs, researching the proper codes, and understanding the process of bidding and professionalism and what it takes to correspond with contractors or talk with them and speak with them and follow ups and things of that nature. The basic steps, choosing a product, finding a supplier, and bidding.
Hmm. You know, and I think that that's a lot of the problem is that people get confused by all of the different opinions about how to start, what to do. But with us, I'll say this and then I will look at the questions. With us, it's very simple, right, Torrance? We have a process. This is
Correct.
your first step. If you don't get the right PSC codes from the beginning, and that doesn't mean a whole lot of deep researching, you're going to be all over the place. You're not going to find the right opportunities, if any at all. That is the beginning. And it's not even the NACE codes. It's the PSC codes where the opportunities are. NACE codes are higher level,
Mhm.
but okay, I see the questions dropping in. But yeah, it's very simple step by step. But I think to your point, you say this all the time that people they're looking down the line when they're not even focused on the process.
Well, they have so many voices out there on the internet, and a lot of times they organization and kind of clarity of vision and listening
Mm-hmm.
to one voice or clarifying those puzzle pieces. A lot of times
Mm-hmm.
they may come jumbled, and after an assessment, they understand to keep the basics and to focus on the next step because they might not even
Mm-hmm.
be registered in SAN. There's
Right.
little things like that you're taking a jumbled puzzle and kind of organizing it,
Yes,
into
exactly.
bite-sized pieces.
Exactly. But we have success with our clients because we know if you do what we're teaching you to do, you're going to win. Now, it's one thing to also put that focus on those specific things as if to say, do I need to set aside time to do this every weekend? Yes, you do, because commitment is part of that. If you don't, you're not going to win. Do I need to submit this many bids a month so I can be seen so that the system will recognize me? Yes, you do. If you don't, you're not going to win. And if you do, some people get lucky, they do win the first time, but it doesn't last and you're not building a business. You're just winning a contract here or there. There's no focus or strategy. Okay, these questions are they're coming in. So let me start. Torrance, I'll read them first. And then I'll go and then you can go. So, hello, Yidia. I think I'm saying that correctly. Good day to you as well. I appreciate your greetings and I appreciate you being here. Yidia says, I am a third year university student and I got into government contracting late last year. I'm about to start a contract where I'll act as a middleman supplying a company with petroleum and gas refinery. Wow, impressive. I have a couple of people that are in the gas industry, propane, but also. However, the venture requires significant capital. I'm considering taking out a large loan to finance the investment, given the risk and or size and risk involved, even though I've secured the contract. Would you recommend taking it? Okay, this is an excellent situation and question. So, first of all, yes, you are in an industry with big business. So you may need some capital. But first of all, don't call yourself a middleman. You're not the middleman. You guys know, I know people don't like that video I did probably, but there's no such thing. Get that out of your mind. I know you're not the oil person or the refinery, you're not the petroleum people. I get that. But the reason you should not call yourself a middleman is because when that transfers over to the contracting officer, even though you got the contract, that doesn't feel like you are the prime in control. Just call yourself a prime. Yes, you're using a third party, subcontractor, not middleman, subcontractor. We all use subcontractors for different things, and that's perfectly fine. Do I think that you need to take out a large loan? Not before you understand completely, which you may already understand, what the requirements are. Why do you need a loan? What do you need it for? Sometimes people want to run and go and get money and they don't even know what they need it for. Now, you could be thinking, well, when my subcontractor, start using that term, subcontractor. When the subcontractor delivers, if this is what you're thinking, you need to um, pay them. A lot of these subcontractors will allow you to have 30 days, 45 days. This is why when you're getting your pricing from your um, subcontractors or prospective contractors, you need to ask them these things. There are a list of questions you should ask them, but you are an example of what I tell people. Be careful what you wish for. A lot of you guys win faster than you expect to win, and then it keeps coming and you're not sure, what to do because maybe you don't have, someone supporting you on this. So I would say, yes, you should get a loan, but not to just have it. You need to know why you're going to get that loan and what you need to do with it. And what I'd like you to do is, I know there are a lot of questions coming in. I'd like you to tell me, what do you expect to do with the loan? Why do you feel you need one? Just a few words. What do you expect to do with the loan? Because yes, you will be needing some support, but I want you guys to try not to use your own money if you don't have to. You need to ask. Now, I'm not saying that you won't need the money at all, but a line of credit is actually better. If you can't get a line of credit, sometimes that's a little bit harder, but a line of credit is actually better so that you can pay that off quickly as soon as the government pays you. And for those of you guys that do not know, when you're getting a contract on the SAM side, you actually get paid within a few days of your delivery and the completion of the project, which is actually really good. And it also depends on which agencies. Now, let me tell you guys, I tell everybody this. If you're working with Indian Health Services, don't. You will not get paid. They have too many problems. All the other agencies, they will pay you quickly. Once the project is complete, it's acceptable, and they will allow you to submit your invoice and you get paid. And by the way, as small businesses, we're required to be paid. With Obama did that. He made it so during the recovery when he was in office so that he could get small businesses to keep doing government contracts. And he didn't realize there were so few small businesses doing but government contracting was ridiculous. He also gave us WOSB, set asides for, small business, woman owned. We're supposed to be ensuring that we're paid first. 7 to 14 days is the law. Now, DLA sometimes, if it's not, now DLA pays on time too, but if you have a situation with them, you may not be paid as quickly as you'd like. But by law, businesses that are 40 million and under, you must be paid timely. And if you are a prime, you must pay your subcontractors timely. Otherwise, they could hurt you. Okay. So, Torrance, you have anything you want to add before I
I
move on?
wanted to congratulate her. That
I
is
know
amazing.
that's
Third year student.
very impressive.
And
Yes.
just to remain calm, and I was nodding my head right when you said that, go and see, what you can get, what and actually, talk and do the research as far as a line of credit, as far as, delivery versus payment, just different things that you can do.
Mhm.
Just
That's right.
just remain calm, and just I'm congratulating her. That sounds amazing.
Now, towards the end of this, Lydia, I would like you to complete this pre-assessment. I'd like you to touch bases with us. Torrance will review your pre-assessment. I think that that's very serious business. And to Torrance's point, that is humongous. And like I said, I have two others that have won contracts with fuel. Fuel is a big freaking deal right now. We do not, the federal government has for years been looking for small business entities in the United States that can manage, because a lot of our fuel contracts have been managed overseas. This industry, I shouldn't say industry, this market, this government market is so humongous. This is our time. This is our time. It's the complete opposite of what people are thinking. And fuel is one of those areas. And it's very, very, very low competition because people get intimidated. So if you ever, and you don't have to fill out the assessment right away, but you do need to be careful that you don't mess yourself up in this contract. You need to manage that subcontractor. This is basically what Torrance is saying. You got to manage them. Okay, next I have to move on. Remember, I'm the one that has to be managed. So, okay, Jay Reed says there is a U.S. manufacturer that has a facility in the Caribbean. Can we still do labeling and packaging overseas and then ship to DLA while being in the US? Okay, so understand something about DLA when it comes to labeling and packaging. I think a lot of people don't understand this. The government does your labeling. You have to do the packaging. The manufacturer is in the Caribbean. Can we still do labeling and packaging overseas? Okay, I almost missed this part of the question. No, you cannot. You can get the labels and send it to the people overseas. You can do that. And you can teach them how to do the packaging. But I will tell you, you got to be careful about that, especially with the DLA, because they will hold that against you. So you can do that, but you have to teach them. You can get the labels. Now, let me say this to you. You don't want that manufacturer inside your WAF or inside your VSM. You need to do those things. You guys need to understand that with DLA, especially, you have to know how everything should work. Do you guys realize we can't even ask regular manufacturers in the United States to package for us? You know why? Because they don't do it right, because they don't care about that. DLA requires us to follow certain specifications. Now, not all of our packaging codes are complicated. We only have a few. Sometimes we get some that are, a little more complicated. They might require a special plastic packaging or something like that, but we don't have a lot of requirements. We got 3951, which is commercial. If this is 3951 commercial, to answer Reed's question, Jay Reed's question, you could probably teach them this. If you're in my DLA, you could just, take that information and teach them how to do it, because we have the packaging, the labeling, all of that's in there. You could teach them how to do it, but you are taking a chance. You need to see what they're doing. Use Zoom to make sure they're doing it correctly. Walk them through it. Yeah, you could do it. But if it's not right, you're still held responsible. And then you also have to make sure that you understand any other requirements that may be coming out of that country. Now we got these crazy tariffs. So this is why in my DLA program, I do encourage you guys to have the product sent to you, which that's what I would do the first time. If it's not a big contract or if it's not a big deal, do it yourself the first time if you can. But if you don't agree with that, that's fine. Just let them do it, but realize you're taking a chance. But yes, you can do it. You can work with these countries that are not here. That's not the problem. The problem is a lot of our manufacturers don't do it right. They don't. Torrance, you have anything you want to add about that
I
before
think
we?
the part about the 3951 and kind of finding that balance between getting firsthand experience, especially the first time, and
Yes.
keeping your information, your VSM and things confidential. And
You
then
like that? What you like that idea
once you
of
have
the?
firsthand knowledge, you can explain it, to those who you want to package. But you should definitely put your hand as an entrepreneur, as somebody who wants to get into any field, you should have you should be competent, and competent meaning you should have at least a basic understanding of the whole process from beginning to end of whatever you into, or
Yes,
else
and
you're
then
open to making mistakes.
absolutely, that's right. And then to your point, if they do it that way, then they can see themselves, what the product is like, how it should be packaged. Even
Right.
though 3951 is commercial packaging, it's not as stringent. You still have to do certain things. Like you can't just put something in a box, throw it in there, and have it shaken all over the place. No matter how small the product is or how large, you must protect it. So yeah, okay, good. I like that. I mean, I don't like to force you guys to do certain things, but I want you to know you could be making a business mistake and it could hurt you. Now,
Right.
if you mess up a packaging once, they're not going to stop awarding you contracts. They're not. But if you keep trying to work with people that don't know what they're doing and they're not interested in doing it, we have our US manufacturers that do that. They ship us product, not me personally, because I'm pharmaceuticals. I don't usually have that problem, but because everything that we do has to be done a specific way because it's medical. But a lot of you guys have had these big contracts and they ship you your product and it's a mess. It's not protected. You are responsible for that. They are not going to nobody's going to reimburse you except the manufacturer if that's the way they do business. The government is going to blame you. Again, this is why I don't like middleman because really a manufacturer is kind of a middleman. They're like a they're your subcontractor, but you have to manage them. So that's Torrance and I are kind of on the same page about that. Okay. So hi Stephanie, I know you. You're in our program. Okay, Stephanie says she hasn't won any contracts yet. She's been trying to find a mentor from DoD, mentor protege program, but have been unsuccessful. I just moved to Delaware and received a call yesterday. Someone called and she wanted to speak with me about GSA 5-year contract. Okay, let me say this to you, Stephanie. Because this is really good. Let me tell you something. You guys that know me, you know I'm a straight shooter. These mentorship protege programs, all of them, they're trash. They're trash unless you find someone that you know and that you can trust. And I don't mean to be so harsh, but I do mean to be harsh because I don't want you guys thinking this stuff works the way people say it does, including the SBA. The SBA has now mentorship for WOSBs, all of that. There are all these they're not for you the way they should be. They're not going to teach you anything. You know what they're going to do? They're going to use your information as a small business and have you look for opportunities. And they will tell you, no, we like this one. No, we don't like this one. The mistake that most of you guys make, I mean, if you just want to do that protege program, you need to create a document for what you'd like to get out of that program. You know, you guys, and when I say you guys, I'm talking all of the community. This used to happen with 8As all the time in the mentor protege. Michelle, I'm so glad I found you. Can you help me know what to do about this mentorship with this protege and this SBA 8A? Yeah, I can help you. Tell me what's going on. It's the same story over and over and over again. Nobody really wants to teach you how to compete with them. They don't want you to grow up as a company and do business like they do. It is, it's gaslighting to me. I mean, that's a harsh kind of term, but it's nonsense. Should it work that way? Yes, it should. But it should be an agreement where you learn, they learn from you. Mostly you're learning from them. The only benefit to them mentoring you, and they're not really mentoring you, is for them to use your small business certifications so that you can help find them business. But if you ask them, can I go on one of your projects? They're not going to let you. They're not going to tell you what they're winning. They're not going to tell you. So, at minimum, if you are anyone that is looking for a mentor protege situation, ask them, what do I get out of this? You should have someone that's like me that is with you, that you can be with them, following them around, or they introduce you to people in their company. These are not working that way. You're wasting your time. To me, I don't know what, and I've been doing this a long time. I used to do 8As for people, not me, but me and my team. I stopped because they're so time consuming, and then these people don't want to learn how to win. Set aside mentorships. None of this means anything if you're not learning how to win. And Stephanie tells me the right thing. Michelle, I haven't won anything. That's the most important thing she said. We would have to peel back the layers and find out, Stephanie, why aren't you winning? What are you doing or what are you not doing? Maybe your focus is too big. Maybe you're not, are you committed on a weekend? So a lot of you guys have another business, you have another job. So it's these questions that we have to ask ourselves. It's not that hard, but when it's so big, like Torrance said, it is. It does feel hard. When you're growing a business, it's a lot. for all of us. But if you can narrow down the steps you need to take to get to that spot, then it's not so difficult. Okay, so that's number one about the mentor protege. I don't approve of them. I mean, you don't have to listen to me, but if you're going to do it, please ask them, what do I get out of this? And then let me tell you something else about this GSA. Someone calling and talking to her about GSA, a 5-year contract. Don't pay for that and don't do it. GSA, Donald Trump just got rid of 300 SNSs. GSA is a ripoff. It always has been, even before this administration. He did that because most of you guys don't know this. Most people don't know this. You know why he canceled all those NSN or those SNSs? Those are products under GSA. He canceled all those codes because women and minorities are the ones that have GSA schedules. I learned that a long time ago. That's why I stopped teaching GSA. Because when I figured out that small businesses were the only ones being approached to give the government the cheapest prices, I'm not saying they don't always want cheap prices, but then you pay 15,000, 10,000, 5,000 to get somebody to do this for you, and then they don't even teach you how to win with it. This is why I am not against certifications. I am not against programs, but I am against people telling you to do things and to pay for something that will not help you win. Because if somebody encourages you to get an 8A, when I did 8As, I taught them how to win. They were thinking they weren't going to have to do any work. It's the opposite. You get the 8A, it is a icing on the cake kind of thing. You still got to know how to win. Nobody tells you that. That's why you guys get stuck because you hear all of these lies. They're just lies. And some of them are myths. So Donald Trump, he canceled some of the most important. So all of these people that have GSAs, they're not going to make any money off of that. And guess what else about a GSA? If you have one and you do not use it, you have to pay $25,000 in penalties a year. It's a scam. I never liked GSAs when I figured out. I used to have a lot of GSA people come to my classes to say, can you teach us how to use it? They didn't even know that they had to market the GSA, meaning, okay, it's just like a certification. You got a GSA, you need to bid on things. You need to talk to contracting officers. Otherwise, you're never going to win anything. And the contracting officers did not come after them like they were told. I think you should definitely fill out the assessment with Torrance and get some time with him. He could give you a free 15-minute. And when you're in my programs, our programs, we don't, I mean, sometimes you do need to sign up for a consultation, but most of the time you don't, because a lot of you guys just have a few questions or you need to know where is this in the program. That's all. And that's what Torrance is for. So, Stephanie, I would say we need to get you on track. I want you to win. We want you to win. So, everything we do is about you winning. And yes, I am extremely busy. That's why I'm multiplying myself.
Just a
That's
five
exactly
minute,
why.
5 minute warning on that.
Okay. Okay. I didn't give you any time to say anything. Do you have anything to say to Stephanie? I want her to come and see you or talk to you.
Yes, is I have 15-minute free consultation that
Okay.
will be presented before you all leave. And yeah, Michelle, I mean, she covers her bases. That's one thing for sure. Two
I
things.
know. I get so passionate about things. I love you guys and I feel like I'm one of you. And I know we're not in the same place, but I remember these feelings. And there was nobody there. We are all committed to what we do and we love what we do and we all care about our people in our community. Okay, so Shelly says, I'm a licensed therapist with a private practice in California. Good. You're in a good space. I've been trying to get into government contracting, but it seems hard to get into mental health. No, it's not. Why do you think that, Shelly? Listen, it's one of those very low hanging fruit competition kind of things. You guys know I don't like the C word. I don't believe in competition, but it is not that. You know what's hard? I can guarantee you this, people don't know how to guide you or nobody's telling you the right information. You need the right code, Shelley. Those PSC codes will help you to find all of these mental health contracts. And that administration, by the way, even though there's still a lot out there, they've been messing around with the veterans because that's where the mental health is. A lot of it. We have a lot of contracts for. I just looked the other day. Mental health in general. We have veterans, homelessness. They need to get into a facility. Plus, they need mental health. Plus, they need, all of these other things. And you don't have to do everything. You don't. You could do a portion of it or partner with someone. That's what we need to do more of. Forget these mentor people, these protege mentor situations. They're not helping us, but you could partner with a peer or bring someone in that could probably help you do that. You need to find the right opportunities. And I actually have two young ladies that are working on it right now for not the same, just basic mental health, but they specialize. And it's an area where I've been looking for people to get in those areas because there's so many areas where small businesses are thinking, I just need to stay over here with the total set asides. It's the opposite because we need to be like me. I'm where the large companies are. I don't have small business competitors. My competitors are billion-dollar companies because they don't see me coming. And that's the same for you guys. So, are there, her other part of her question is, are there any similar industries you would recommend? I think you need to stay where you are and look at the industries that are connected to that. And SAM, I'm already in SAM, so you got to have the battle done. And CAE, Procure for California state contracts. You did win. Congratulations. See, you won a contract. I also suggest that, and some of you guys, Torrance brings me in when he needs to. Okay. So you need to fill out an assessment too. I know this is more my area than his, but we are going to look at the assessments and decide who needs help. And I would like to make sure you get help, Shelley, because you are in one of those industries where we need to get the big boys out the way and it's not as competitive as it's made to seem. Okay. All we need to do is find out where you need to be and you start showing up. It is probably because you're not quite sure how to do the codes, things like that. You have your codes for your SAM, but let me tell you guys this, all of you, once you find out what your codes are for your industry, and I'm mostly talking PSC, product service codes on the SAM side. For DLA, it's FSC on the DLA side. But for everything else, it's product service codes. When you know your codes, guess what happens? Contracting officers find you. You don't have to always be looking for them. They get to know you because they're in groups. You could have maybe three or four contracting officers that do mental health. You'll see them all the time. They're going, and then you'll know who your agencies are. It's focus and strategy and taking the steps. Torrance, anything I'm missing?
Yeah, specialization in the codes. That is more than half the battle, and then showing up, like you said, showing up, and sometimes you can show up once, but until it's consistent, and they see you, they see your credentials,
Mm-hmm.
consistently, because people talk in the industry, and
Mm-hmm.
once you get the opportunity, which it sounds like you have being prompt, professional, responding to emails and things of that nature, you can get to the point where people approach you. Um,
It is true. It is very true.
so
Your
once you get,
packaging,
yeah,
right? Your proposal. Yeah, he's absolutely right. Shelley, definitely do that. And congratulations on your other contract. Sometimes the state contracts, sometimes they're lucrative, but a lot of times they're not as lucrative as the federal contracts. Okay. All right. Next, this is Elizabeth. I am a small business located in Nevada and very interested in getting into the government contract acquisition space. I'm starting a medical supply business. However, I'm overloaded with information and lacking focus direction. I know what you mean. What program do you have that would fit my situation? Well, a lot of you guys don't know this because it's not public. I have finally opened up my medical program. Now, what we could do is get you on the list. We could have you fill out the medical assessment. Torrance, can you write her down for the medical, Elizabeth, for the medical assessment? So
Right.
we're gonna get that one to you. We're in our second week, and it is a 7 week program. I'm teaching it live because I will not teach it live again, but I'm teaching it live because I want all the questions. We chose 12 companies and the program will be, it will go out to the public, but not right now, very soon. But I'm teaching it live all 7 weeks because it is very, I teach everything in there. It's not just um, what do you want to bid on? I mean, it's the whole thing. And it's not just government, it is also commercial. And the reason I decided I need to help you guys also take your businesses or make sure your businesses are open to commercial is because I'll be honest, it was this administration that made me say, you know what? Yes, we win a lot in government, but I need to help people or small businesses to understand we have opportunities everywhere. And in healthcare, because that's where I come from, and medical, the opportunities are ginormous. I can't even tell, even in your state. So you're not just winning on the federal side, because we got a lot of medical and DLA side that I don't do because I do a lot of the big stuff. So I'm teaching these 12 people. You have all of these medical supplies and dibs that cannot be touched right now because people don't know how to get the licenses. They don't know how to do this. So that's what they're learning in this program. And so you will see it show up. But Elizabeth, I have uh, allowed even the people that didn't get in to fill out their assessment. I would like to have yours as well, so that when we get to a certain place, I allow other businesses to come in. And it's I'm even fascinated with what I'm doing because they love it, and I know that small businesses are not in this space. I'm one of so few in the pharmaceutical and the medical space for government, just a few. And that's why I did this. But it took me a long time to do it because I'm so busy and I had to find time to create the program and develop the program. Okay. All right. So we'll get you that information. And you're right, it's a lot of information out there, but also there is nothing. When I first started in government, there was nothing out there that helped me to understand how to win contracts with pharmaceutical. Nothing. If I did not have a pharmaceutical background, I wouldn't have been able to do this because I wouldn't have known what an NDC was. I wouldn't have known that some medical products require a license, some don't. I wouldn't have known any of those things. I wouldn't have known how to work with hospitals. I wouldn't have known all of these healthcare markets, nursing homes, assisted living, all of these hundreds and hundreds of entities right in my state need all of these things. And there are only 4 companies that do medical supplies. 4. Everybody else is using a middleman, as Yidia said. When I never use third parties for things. I always go straight. If I can't go straight, I realize you guys can't do that right away. But if I can't get to who's making it, I probably won't do it. Right now, I don't deal with third parties. I don't deal with distributors. I need to know who the manufacturer is, and I'm trying to get there, no matter what the situation is. And so those are some of the things that they're learning. Okay. So, Elizabeth, thank you. And we will send you a medical questionnaire, a medical supplier. It's called the Medical Supplier Distribution Program, is what it's called. Okay, we'll get that to you also. I'm sure Kat is amazing. I know she's taking notes, so she will help me and Torrance stay on track with what our follow-up. Okay. So Torrance, here's Nathaniel. He says, "Good afternoon. Thank you for your time and knowledge. I'm a disabled veteran." Well, thank you for your service, Nathaniel. Glad that you are here. I have a lot of veterans in my programs. I love veterans. Well, my ex-husband was a veteran. And I was a veteran wife. So I love veterans. I hear about government contracts for notary work, but I don't know how much workload would be involved, or if I'd have to hire someone to fulfill the contract. I mean, Nathaniel, we'd have to do a little bit of research on there. I do know some people in government contracting that are notaries, but they don't do all notary. It's not, there are some areas in federal where there is not enough opportunity. So you need to be careful with what you choose. I would suggest that you do a little research on there. And Nathaniel, you can submit a follow-up question, but I don't think that you should be thinking about that as a full situation because I mean, I've never seen any. Torrance, have you ever seen any?
No.
I've not, I've seen people that have notaries, but that's about it. Okay, so who's next? So Nathaniel, submit a follow-up question, but your question is a good one. How can I tell how much work I'd be signing up for? Not a lot. And I'm very experienced with what's out there. Maybe you know something that I don't know, but not a lot. You need to pick something in addition to that. This one is from Denard. Do you know if you can have if you can have a business trust for your business or LLC? Yes. Some guidance will tell you get your LLC first, and then you can put the LLC in the trust. Now, I will say that you should consult with a professional, and I wouldn't do all of that before I get into to Sam and start winning. You need to get your business set up under the LLC if it's not already. Do your business and then there are people that specialize in that, setting up trust, and they don't cost a whole lot, a couple of $1,000s. You could do a consultation with one in your area, but absolutely you can do that. My family does that. I do that. Well,
Yes,
my family does it because of me. Go ahead, Torrance.
you have to be very careful with trust and that they're structured properly. Because if you don't, then um, it can be pierced. And
This
I
is
know
true.
that's the private side of asset protection. So just make sure that you are super knowledgeable, or you whoever you want to use as a help really knows what they're talking
Consultant.
about, because
Mhm.
you can go do all that work, but if it's not structured properly, I mean you back at square one. So
It's true.
be mindful.
With trust, you have to even be careful how money is handled. You need to, if you're going to have somebody set it up for you, and there's not a lot of information out there about trust. I've been at real estate events where before we did ours as a family, where they had a consultant come and talk to all of us as real estate investors. And I'll tell you one of the mistakes we almost made is when you have property, and I would imagine businesses are the same way. When you have, let's say, three properties, all of those LLCs should not be under one LLC and then under the trust. Each property should be a separate LLC. So Torrance is right. There are a lot of nuances that you need to be careful about, and that it can be pierced if you go outside of what you're being taught to do, because the consultant or whoever tells you to set it up, they're going to teach you all of those things. If they don't, they're not a good one. You need to ask them those questions before you talk to them, because he's right. If you start spending money outside of the trust and doing things the wrong way, and you get sued, someone has an opening to your trust. We have trust for very various reasons, and they're good ideas, but there's not a lot of information out there on it. Okay. Barbara, I've been reaching out to manufacturers to request quotes for government contract bids, but I keep running into challenges. A lot of the manufacturers have outdated contact information, and when I do leave messages or send emails, I rarely get a response. This makes it difficult to gather the necessary quotes to submit bids. Do you have any advice on how to effectively connect with manufacturers for government contracts when their contact information is unreliable? Barbara, there are a lot of things depending on where you focus. So let me break this up. If you're doing DLA, there's a very specific process, meaning you need to, if you're doing DLA, and we don't have time for Barbara to, come back in here and say it's DLA or if it's products. I'm going to address both. And Torrance, you can help me. Um, for the DLA side, we vet. these manufacturers before we start calling them. And usually, for those of you that are not in DLA, DLA requires that you, or so-called, requires that you use a so-called approved source. A lot of times, an approved source is not really an approved source. So you find a product you want to bid on, you see three or four or one or two approved sources on the DLA side for this product, and so you call them. First of all, you never call a manufacturer or a supplier or a distributor. Now, why do I say all those three? Because they're one and the same when it comes to you trying to obtain the product. So you never call any of them without looking them up to see if they have done any contracts themselves under that same product, number one. And DLA allows you to look them up for awards. Okay, so you can look at their cage code and see if, as an approved source, have they ever won that award? If they're winning, you need to ask yourself, should I call them? My people, the people in my program, they know, okay, you can call them if you want to, but just because you don't see anything, or even if you do see something, they might say, well, Michelle, I see they've won some things, but it's not what I want to talk to them about. You have to think about what I said earlier. People are not going to teach you how to compete against them. I'm the only person that you probably will ever meet that doesn't care about teaching people things that I know. I know there's some of us, but that's scarcity. Most of these people in DLA on the hardware side, they live in scarcity. We are invading their space. There's so many new winners. I know for a fact that we've put so many new winners in that space. So they're not going to tell you who they really are. You could be calling a competitor, you get a price, or you don't get a price. That may be why they're not calling you back. So you have to vet each one of them. And then vetting doesn't mean just look them up to see if they won. You need to go to, if they didn't win, also go to USA Spending, put in their company name and see if they're winning. Okay. See if they come up with a lot of contracts, then you might say, do I want to talk to them? Because listen, you can find a different source, but the product has to be exact, right, Torrance? Torrance has had to show our clients, okay, yes, they say they're an approved source, but they're not really the approved source. They are our competitor, your competitor. Even though I can't stand that word, they're bidding against you. So you call them, even if you get in touch with them, you don't know what they're doing, but you're probably in a better situation that they didn't respond to you. That tells you how they're going to do business. Either they're already bidding on it themselves, they're competing with you, they don't want to give you the information. So you have to take some steps. Now on the SAM side, if it's a product on the SAM side, same thing. Now SAM is not as difficult because they give you a brand name that they want you to purchase. You don't have options on the DLA side. The only time you have options on the DLA side is if that product doesn't exist anymore. But on the SAM side, they will allow you to have options. So let's say they want you to go to a specific Mr. Smith's brand of, let's say, an HVAC product or something like that. But Mr. Smith's brand, maybe it's more expensive. Maybe Mr. Smith doesn't want to work with you. The SAM side contracting officers will allow you to present an alternate. You can do that on the DLA side too, but you got to go through the process and you have to prove that that product doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So, but either way, either side, you need to vet the people that you're calling. That's why you're not getting anywhere because you're wasting time with manufacturers and suppliers that are supposedly doing this, but maybe they're not, maybe they're old. It could be almost anything. Google still works very well to find businesses. Go to their
And
website and see if they're working. Go ahead, Torrance.
and the approved source that's making the product might have discontinued it or put it under another
That's right.
part number or something like
That's
that. So
right.
that's where
Mm-hmm.
research comes in because say you think you say you think you found an approved source and you did all the vetting and you think they still sell this same product and you prematurely, you know, put in for a product and it may be discontinued. You know, it may be
Right.
under a new number. So things like that are super important. That's one of the key, very important processes in this
A
field.
lot of these companies, to your point, get purchased. They get purchased. Sometimes you need to, because if you're doing products, you're always going to have a product number. And that product number is way more important than the manufacturer. Because if that product number, like Torrance said, is no longer in existence, then you're wasting your time. But that's a door opener for you to work with the contracting officer. You can tell them, but before you talk to the contracting officer to let them know this product doesn't even exist anymore, what you need to do is find an equivalent part number. You cannot do that in DLA right away. Let me just reiterate that DLA doesn't work like that. DLA has a process where you must give them what they ask for, and it doesn't have to come directly from the manufacturer. So, Barbara, one of my suggestions is you should look and see if anybody else has the product, because just I don't know where you're getting these manufacturer names from, but if you are not getting good names from, let's say, DLA, but you're calling these people, why don't you try doing research under the product number and the product name? As long as it's the exact product, you can use it with DLA. So I hope that helps, but it's doing your research first before, because you might not be able to work with those people. They may, and these people are doing you a favor by when they don't respond to you. You don't want to work with people like this, because the worst thing that happens to people, I don't have anybody, well, that's not true. I probably have maybe two people over the years that have said the suppliers, the distributor said he could do this, but now he's saying he found out that they don't make that part anymore. That's why you got to do your own homework and you have to ask these questions. So you've won a contract and now you can't even fulfill it. Now you have to backtrack. This is why doing your homework is really important. But going to these companies' websites is really important, because you can see, are they still in business? Are they functioning? Can I find a contact number? I know Barbara, you said you had some contact numbers, but you're probably too focused on the manufacturers. Depending, again, it depends on what you're doing. DLA is it's a system. It really is. You got to know, exactly what you're doing. And by the way, Barbara, you could have or find, as an example, 10 possible suppliers through DLA as an example, and only one or two of them are going to be any good. It is not easy. That's why I have the hot list, because I want my people to practice. As soon as people get that hot list and they start practicing, you know what the hot list does? It finds a supplier that is not going to give them a hard time. It allows them to start bidding and winning right away. It allows them to plant a lot of seeds. Government contracting for services and products is about planting seeds, a lot of them. Then you start winning and they keep coming. That's what it's about. So, okay. So, Barbara, I hope that was helpful. And you can put in another question if we have time. Oh, Torrance, anything? You said a couple of things, but anything else before we move on to Jean?
Oh yeah, I covered. I know we got the 5 minutes, so that was pretty much what I wanted to say. Just pay attention. Time and so many things are important. That's all.
Okay. All right. Here's Jean. Jean is in our, I believe Jean is in our DLA program. I believe you are, Jean. I'm having problems with DLA with the suppliers getting a good price to bid on a product. They give the good prices to their good customers, and prices and the prices, the products are too high to be competitive. Then a lot of them are no bid. Jean, you need to have a one-on-one with us, because you're probably doing some small little things that could change your winning streak, change the issue of you bidding. And another thing is, if you're only planting one or two seeds with DLA, your journey is going to be long. You're not going to win fast enough, and you're not going to get enough experience to see what's going on in the industry. So, Jean, Torrance could definitely help us with that, with you, especially since you're already in the program. You probably just need to tweak a few things. Sometimes it's the difference between you dealing with directly with manufacturers, meaning You can't get to the manufacturer because a lot of these manufacturers, by the way, huge education point I'm about to give you. Most of the manufacturers do not sell directly. They don't deal with us directly. In my case, they do. That's why I said I don't do third parties. If I can't get something direct, but I'm in medical, it's a little different for me. Now, what did I do when I was doing hardware and DLA? I would have the parts made because I could beat all of them. You guys, if you've been with me, you probably listened to my story. Now, did I go build the manufacturing facility back then? No. I just asked one of my clients, can you make these bolts for me? Gene, if you want to stay in a certain area, that might be what you need to do down the line. But I'm willing to bet that you might need to switch up where you're focused. You might need to bid more because you guys will plant some seeds, maybe 10, maybe 5 bids, and then you're waiting to see what happens. And by the way,
That's a very
go ahead, Torrance.
that's a very important point. When you're bidding and bidding consistently, you have to be on top of your DLA award notification. That's email and within DLA dibs. There are times where I personally placed bids 3 weeks ago, and
Mhm.
by me checking my email, they might have sent me correspondence maybe 2 weeks later or something like
Mhm.
that. So it's kind of like planting the seed. It's kind of like being a gardener. When you're placing these bids, sometimes they might not see you or they might not respond for a period of time, but you always have to be ready and you always have to
The,
stay consistent.
you always have to stay consistent. But the reason that you guys get a little upset when you're not having any luck is because when I ask you how many bids do you have in the vault? Well, I got 5 or 10. Now, do I have people that win with five? Yes, I do. But they might just be in a good place for a specific type of product. Gene, you need to bid on older contracts. Number one, within a year, that's going to help you a lot because if it's just sitting there for 6, 7 months, that's what you need to focus on. Stop worrying about what you like and what you don't like. Just bid on things that you see that are there. Because I believe I think I've talked with you before. I know you're doing your proper research. Just even if you need to tweak the FSC codes that you're working with, meaning maybe you're doing, as an example, 5306 for bolts, maybe you could do 5310. You need to look outside of where you are. Listen, we have for DLA, I am not kidding you, probably more than half a million contracts, meaning bids, sitting out on DLA on a daily basis. That's no joke. I can pull up 60,000 of those deals sitting there waiting for us just by doing a search in a few similar categories. So, you need to change your direction a little bit. You need to pay attention, which I believe you're already doing that, to who is bidding against you and who's winning against you. Make sure that it's not just about price, and you need to look those companies up to see what they're doing. What's the situation? Why is this like this? But I think, Jean, you need to talk with us for at least a few minutes to get you on the track. So you need to, when Kat puts up the link for you to do the assessment, please go ahead and do that. Okay, especially you also need to use us more as the team. My people, all of my people are trained. They're not, we all specialize in different things, but Kat can sometimes tell you a simple answer to something. She gets trained too. We all know what the knowledge database looks like. We're building a knowledge database. So, we can help you, especially since you're already in the program. That's what we do. Right? Now, Jay Reed says they will be physically overseas doing DLA. Now, let me warn you, all of you, you cannot do DLA overseas without letting DLA know. It's not, and you cannot use a VPN. They will kick you out. So you need to make sure that you reach out to validation or to the customer service DIBS team. Let them know, especially if you're a veteran or something like that. But you don't have to be. But I've had to get people out of trouble from. I said, I told you you can't use a VPN, but I have to use a VPN because I'm traveling. Well, that's why you got kicked out. They will lock you out immediately, especially with now, this administration doesn't seem to be too concerned about security, but the Biden administration, they had security, cybersecurity everywhere. And they would lock you out, or at least under the Biden administration, they would lock you out immediately because that's DOD and they can't have that. And if you're going to do it, they just need to know who you are and what you're doing because we have a lot, especially now with all these tariffs. We got stuff, all kinds of stuff going on. People spying on each other, not like we don't spy too, but it's a problem. So just be careful of that, okay? Just let them know because they don't say you can't do it. They just want to know that you're doing it. You're welcome, Stephanie. I'm glad that really helped. Okay. And I really want you to do an assessment with Torrance so that we can get you on the right track. Shelley says, thank you so much. You're quite welcome, Shelley. Yes, the hard part is lack of guidance. Yeah, I know. And there's so much out there. We live in a time of not that a lot of the information is bad. Some is good, some is bad, but you even for me with my vision of all the things that I do, I have to go through a lot of people too, a lot of consultants, but I know what to ask for. And I know I vet people, but I get rid of people quickly because you guys are not like this. I'm a developer, so I have instincts for who knows what they're doing and who knows what they're talking about, or who's trying to keep information from me. And if I'm talking to you to try to figure out, as a manufacturer, how do work with you, on your medical supply, and you're hemming and hawing, or you're only telling me bits and pieces, but I have all my questions together, I'm probably not going to want to work with you because I can't trust you. And people ask me that all the time. I had one big situation where, and this has happened more than once. One of our DLA people, he was winning, winning, winning. And sometimes you'll find the contracting officer doesn't like the manufacturer, but they like you because you're winning and they've awarded you. So they might ask you to help them get something. That happens all the time. And then you go to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer finds out that the government is trying to work with you instead of them. And here we go. Long story short, our protege in the program was saying, well, Michelle, what do you think? Do you think that I should go ahead and tell the government I'll work with them? I'll work with the manufacturer, and then they will work with me, and then I'll get the product from the manufacturer. And I told him, listen, that manufacturer is mean and hateful, and they're mad. They know the government doesn't like them, but they also know the government needs that product. He says, so do you think that I should try to work with him? I tried to work with him. He wouldn't let me work with him. And I said, there's your answer right there. To me, I wouldn't do it. He's going to set you up. So you tell, well, what do I tell the government? They were trying to give him a $250,000 contract. You tell them that you're working on making the product. You need to make that product. I know it's a deal that you can't do right now, but he's the only one that makes it. You need to tell the government, I'm sorry, I can't help you in this case, but keep me in mind. I will keep you posted. I say, you should already be working on that product. This was one of my proteges. He already knows how to make products. He had relationships overseas, everywhere. I said, James, you should have already have been doing that. You need to get started with that because guess what? His profit margins would increase from maybe 20%, 15% to 50, 60, even 70%. It wasn't even an item that was that hard to make, but nobody else makes it. So we have a lot of that going on. And that is why we're manufacturing. My mastermind people, they're all preparing to manufacture because this is a gold mine. All these large companies are holding the federal government hostage. All we got to do is make some of this stuff. That's what I've been doing for the last couple of years. Okay, my company focuses on medical supply acquisition and sourcing as well. Well, let us know if you'd like to do the assessment for medical, and we'll keep it on file. But if you have some questions in the meantime, I wouldn't hold you back if you wanted to move forward, if you needed to talk to us about what you're trying to do. Okay. Yes, Jean, you have to be a student to get hot list leads. You do. You know why? Because I have to make sure that I'm not setting people up for failure. You need to know what you're doing. If you're not in the, you know what I mean? Because I did allow people to get it at first, but I realized, oh my God, people that those hot lists were flying off the shelf. And then
Oh
I
man,
realized,
I got so
remember,
much.
Torrance?
I got so
Remember?
much to say about getting the hot list before
Go
being
ahead.
part of the
Go
community.
ahead.
It is like it's like having gasoline with no car. So sometimes people miss the
Yeah.
foundation.
Yeah.
People it so taking the time to get the foundational knowledge will accelerate that hot list so much. The hot list is time sensitive. A lot of work is put into it by a procurement team. And so you want to be able to take that list and go off run it immediately. If you
That's
don't,
right.
not only could you find yourself in a premature situation, as far as, you could possibly win something, but if you don't know what to do outside of that,
Exactly.
it is so detrimental to your reputation, to your
Yes.
confidence, to your development. Like there's a reason we've at the company we've done things a certain way and we've gotten back feedback. It is so important to respect the process of going through the program from A to Z and really understanding what you're doing. And then when you have the hot list, it's like having a turbo booster on your car. So you go from no car,
It
you
is.
go from having
Yes.
no car to having a Ferrari. So
Yes. It's so true.
you
Listen,
got to
I
go through
feel
the
like
process.
saying amen because listen, he just that we the experience that we had, what was that last year or whatever,
Yeah.
where I allowed people to outside of the program to buy the hot list, those people were asking questions that I thought, why are they asking questions like this? And the team let me know those are not people in our programs. And I thought, oh my God, people don't really know. When you're asking me, when you're in DLA and you're asking me, can you drop ship without doing what we talked about earlier with the Caribbean deal, your manufacturer being outside of the country, that ain't gonna work. It does not work. You immediately starting down the wrong path. When people started asking me, I mean, and they weren't asking me, they were asking the team. It was just questions that scared me because I'm thinking, oh my God, I thought these people knew what they were doing. So what Torrance is saying, just to back it up, he and summarize, there are 3 steps that you must learn how to do. Choose products, learn how to work with suppliers, and start bidding. And the hot list, when you get that, you already know how to do that. That is why you guys see that when we do those interviews, somebody said, well, I got the hot list. And then look, then they forget my name because they're winning and they don't need us anymore. I mean, I'm being facetious, but it's fascinating. But that's exactly what I wanted the hot list to do because it didn't start out that way. I had to, me and the team, my procurement team had to tweak it a little bit. So what we did was we wanted to make sure that when people got these leads, and they're not leads, it's a whole spreadsheet. Step 1, step 2, and step 3. Right, Torrance? Torrance does them. He uses them. He has demonstrated to
Well, the thing
clients.
is, the secret about it is that once you have the foundational knowledge, you can create your own hot list.
Yes, you
Like you
can.
don't
And that's what they do. They start manufacturing things. They find products that we gave them with the supplier where they can say, I like this product.
We are really
This is the
looking out for you
product I'm going
so
to make.
so much with the program. Michelle put in a
Yeah.
lot of time and effort, and like I said, it's better to have the foundation and get the hot list than to get the hot list and you mess it up and then you make it harder on yourself down the road.
Mhm.
So
And I'm very protective of my brand and what I do and the people that work with me. I felt that if I just allow anybody to buy that, it's going to saturate the market with people that don't know what they're doing. I can't do that to my own people that are working with me. I can't do that. And some people, even my COO and my manufacturing side, said, "Well, I don't understand because I consult with her a lot." Well, why? Because she said, "Well, why can't you just charge them more?" Because you don't understand. If people are missing something, they're going to give us a bad reputation in the community, and I don't want them to embarrass themselves. I don't want them to make it harder for the rest of the people in the community. So I have to protect FedBiz Exchange and Michelle and the team, and especially those of my people that have done the work, my proteges like you that have done the work. And I give you basically a gift. You pay for it, but it's still a gift because Torrance is right. Some people only need it once. Some people might say, well, I want another one because maybe they don't have time. Because this you got to plant those seeds. So and quite frankly, services is the same way. I mean, we don't have a hot list for services, but when you figure out where you want to be, like the young lady from California that's doing the mental health, all we got to do is align her with the right information, the right codes. And like Torrance said, you create your own hot list situation. So, okay. But yeah, you're preaching to the choir. You did good with that one. Yes. So, okay, let me see. I think we just have a few more and then we have to go. We're a little bit over, but not too bad. Barbara, you're quite welcome. Thank you for taking the time to answer my question. I perfectly described your challenges. I know. I know. I've been through it personally. And I feel you. I really do. I would like to know how I can get involved with your program. Okay. Would we be just Barbara, go ahead and do the assessment and do the assessment. And if you're really interested in getting a lot of my DLA people that qualify to get in the medical, they actually already are in the DLA. So they're going to be the ones that start doing those DLA medical supplies. So, Barbara, if you've been doing DLA, we don't know which one you've been doing, but if you just like products, it'll be perfect for you still. Okay, so sign up for the assessment at the end. We'll give you guys the link. Kat will give you the link. And yes, of course, when you're in the community, I know if you're not in my mentorship, you don't get to see me as much. And that is because you guys, I have to focus on the people that decided to get in the mentorship, but we still take care of the entire community. And there are thousands of you. We do. My team is amazing. They really, I don't know how they do it, quite frankly. But yes, Barbara, when you're in, we're not going to just let you dangle out there and not know what to do. That would be embarrassing, not just to me. My team doesn't want to see that either. So um, fill out the assessment towards the end where you can click on the link. Kat is going to send that to everyone. So Barbara, if you're in the program and you need me, you can get me. You might have to wait a week, but a lot of times you don't have to. But our mentorship, our mastermind, and all of the programs that we have, you get to be with me when you need to. Okay. And then if you need more guidance, I do tell people you're in the DLA program. You should get in the mentorship if you need to be with me even more, because mentorship is about process and it's only $49 a month. And you don't have to stand, there's no obligation. You can learn what you need to learn, or most of those people that graduate to mastermind because now they're doing larger contracts. So mastermind is larger contracts and manufacturing. Mentorship is process, us sharing experiences, and you will find that these people in my programs, they're very supportive. I have them help me talk about some of these things. And also it's like you're in another course too. So Barbara, when you get in, we'll find out what you need, but I think that you're going to move faster. I do, because you've been doing a lot of the hard work. You found out where the potholes are. So, okay. All right. Yes, I'll give it to you, Kat, so we can get to the medical one, so we can get to these other people. Torrance, do you have any closing things you want to say? This was so great. This was really good. I love being with you guys. Wait a minute, hold on
Just
a second. I think just one last thing. Who is this? Christine. Christine, didn't I have a consultation with you before? I think a long time ago. You had a mental health company too.
Yes, I did.
I remember you. Yeah. You would be you would be in the service program. So here's what happens when you guys are and that's the GovCon program. You almost, like in your case, and anybody that's in mental health, because you have a specialty area, what you would do, you would have to have a session with me, And depending on, the situation, which in your situation, I would do this. When I see we have some new people in our bigger programs, when I get the list and I know we have new students in our bigger programs that have specialties, what I do is I like to take at least an hour with that person when they have an industry that is not common, like mental health. Because what I want to do is make sure you're on the right track, and everything that you create while you're in the program, which you'll have it lifetime, but like your solicitations, your templates, your sources, thoughts, your codes, everything will be tailored towards you in that industry. That's what you have to do. That's how you dominate. And even though this administration is not wanting to give women a lot of set asides, fine, whatever, you still win as a small business, and you could still move all those other companies out of the way. A lot of these companies are greedy. That's one of the things I found out. They're very greedy. Okay. So when they're greedy like that, you can still do well while you're competing with them. Okay. But you're different, you're new. And the contracting officers like to see that. They love to see that. So they welcome you. And these contracting officers, they're not changing their behaviors. They are still awarding us a lot. They're just doing what they have to do. If they need to change it from a woman owned or a minority owned, and there's really no such thing as a minority owned, but a veteran owned, if they have to change it, they just change it to a small business. But you showed up. So, Christine, when you see sources, thoughts out there for mental health or anything related to that, you need to respond. You may be the only one. You guys, thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. I love, I love this, and we learned a lot. And we look forward to hearing from some of you guys. You can do the assessment, and also for you guys with the medical, I do have to release that to my team. I'll give that to them. Torrance has the list for that, and we'll make sure you guys get that as well. Okay. You guys have a great weekend, and this was the highlight of my day, and I will see you guys next time.